Bridget Stebnowski, and I play Atina in this year's production of The Little Mermaid here at Pinelands Regional. Today I'm going to take you under the sea and show you the magic that happens behind the scenes. The process begins with the awaited auditions. Once the word gets out of what the spring musical is going to be, everyone starts to prepare for the role in which they are aiming for.
I am Chuck Miller, and I am the director of The Little Mermaid. How did I approach the casting process of the main characters of The Little Mermaid? The idea was opposites, good and bad, light and dark. And I'm looking at actors who can show me that story that I want to tell through The Little Mermaid. And when you start casting it, some things just start happening. Other ones, talent level, songs, who can hit notes, plays a huge part in it. Whose chemistry works well together, who balances out the other character, like Fatima Jetson with Ursula. And then you have the friends of Ariel, much like the hero's journey friends, and she has all these cast of characters that help her along the way and inform her, and they have to have their own personalities. The idea is you want the person who is exuding what you need to tell the story that you're telling, and then hopefully that works chemistry-wise between people. So we go in with those ideas, believe it or not. And then when we see it, we go, oh, well, there it is.
The first thing going into the rehearsal process is learning to dance and sing. With the help of dance choreographer Tony Ann DeFrancia and chorus teacher Emily Chant, they begin to prepare outstanding performances from the cast.
My name is Miss Emily Chant, and I am the choral director at both the junior high and the high schools, and I'm also the vocal music director for the school musical.
I am Tony Ann DeFrancia. My role is the choreographer for the production. I also do ticketing. So I set up the online ticketing and organize all that, and then at the door, anyone who's buying tickets at the door, I oversee that as well.
As choreography furthers, there are entertaining pieces being put together for the audience to enjoy, such as the tap routine performed by Scuttle and the Seagulls. Mrs. DeFrancia put together tap workshops to teach students, some who have never tapped before, how to tap for the number.
So you can't have musical without dancing, of course. So I think that storytelling is very easy to do through dance. I mean, you can make the movements always match what's going on. So a big thing for me is to listen to the music. I usually listen to the song repeatedly for a period of time and think about how I want what the music is saying to be brought to life with the dance. And again, with the Disney show, the characters are familiar and we know what we're trying to tell in that. So then you decide, well, how am I gonna have people tell this story on stage? And you try to make the movement match what's happening and what the music is saying.
By the time the show approaches, the cast is prepared to do the best dancing they can to bring an energetic piece to life.
I would say my favorite was probably Under the Sea because it involved almost all of the cast, so it's always fun when you get to bring that many people together to perform the number. It was, I'd say, the biggest, and just people know it, and it was like a huge kind of pop in the middle of the show.
Led by Miss Chant, our ensemble and lead roles work together to memorize their vocal parts with weekly scheduled practices.
So I started with the biggest stuff first. So I started with Under the Sea and numbers like that, so the ensemble would have as much exposure to it as possible. And then at the beginning, I also sprinkled in a lot of the smaller group stuff as well as the solos. So I started with the Mer Sisters because they had some of the most complicated harmonies and the more difficult parts. And then the soloists, I would have them pick a day and pick a song to work on. And then the next time we went through it, then it would be memorized, and then we would just kind of fine tune and nitpick some stuff. And with the ensemble, it was first about just getting the right notes in the right places, and then I was able to get into some more nuanced things like their diction, their dynamics, and just the stuff that makes the music come alive. I was really excited about the numbers and just having a larger cast to be able to create that large, full ensemble sound. And I was really excited about working with the soloists as well, and also the Mer Sisters, because there was just like 4, 5, 6-part harmony, and that was really fun.
We've shown you the behind the scenes of all that goes into getting actors to sound and move like their characters. Now we'll dive into the people who make the world around these characters come alive. Stage crew works with leaders like Mr. DeFrancia, Ken Ballin, Jordan Barr, and Jane Yeager to create the sets.
I'm Bart DeFrancia, and I am the assistant director for the spring musical this year. I'm also the technical head of stage crew. Stage crew is There's a lot of using people to their best talents and strengths. We get very, very different types of individuals jump in on stage crew. It's knowing their talents and then giving them those tasks that they'll best achieve. You name it. Large moving set pieces, set construction, painting. A lot of our stage crew members are also very gifted artists, and they helped out with a lot of the beautiful finishing work. We had flying in the show, we had digital backdrops, and sometimes some of the most strenuous aspect of the process can be everybody finding their place backstage. Stage crew having to work around actors and actresses coming on and off. It's well worth it, but that's definitely part of the strain of the whole process.
I'm Indy Goldberg, and I am the stage manager for Stage Right.
My name is Scarlett Rodriguez, and I am a stage manager. First, we have our set designer, Jordan Barr. She designs all the sets, and then once all of the sets are built and they're just like wood and foam, we prime them first, and then we go through all the colors.
The challenges we encountered while creating the sets and preparing for set changes was just trying to get everyone to actually work together as a team. We had like a lot of newcomers, like a lot of younger crew kids, and so this was their first time actually doing a show, and this was like a major show. We needed to try to find a way to have everyone work to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses, but still challenge them. If you want a clean transition, you're gonna need to collaborate with every single member of sound, lighting, just everyone in general, even with the actors as well. Backstage, both me and the other stage manager, Scar, are always on a headset. While being on headset, we are constantly checking in with both lights and sound. Like if there's a cue that went a little too early, we have to tell them and make sure that we can figure out a way to have it still be a smooth transition. And with audio, we have people coming backstage as well to help us and be like, hey, can you call in and make sure that someone's mic is on? And it's all just like very much working together. You're never gonna know what will happen until it does. We just want to make sure that everyone feels safe in the little family that we create backstage. And that's all that really matters.
My name is Jordan Barr, and I am the set designer and an assistant for costumes. The actual set design research is kind of based off of Broadway, but their budget is huge on Broadway, and obviously we have to scale it back. Working with Mr. Miller and Mr. DeFrancia on the technical aspects of what the actors need, what can they walk on, what can they sit on, and then obviously Mr. Ballin is fantastic, and Mr. Pear helped build just anything that I brought to them, they would build. And I worked very closely with Miss Yeager in picking colors and how things were to be painted. She has a great team of kids who help paint all the sets. Just a very great group of people.
My name is Jane Yeager, and I was the set painter, and I helped paint all the sets for the show. So once it was put together, then we were able to kind of figure out how we're going to blend colors. And like, for example, Ursula's throne, you know, there's little tentacles, and, you know, just kind of cutting those pieces out of foam. The paint is what really brought it to life. Being part of the entire like theater department, I think it's really fun. I have a lot of energy, so I feel like the theater department matches my energy. So I think it's a lot of fun. We come like over the weekends and over break, so I think I really enjoy it.
While getting sets ready and painting, behind the scenes is also Jordan and Kathleen Barr designing and adjusting costumes for the cast to wear in the show.
My name is Kathleen Barr, and I am the lead costumer with the Pinelands Thespians. Most often we do model after Broadway, so that's where a lot of the research starts. When selecting a costume for a particular actor, it's important that the look suits the time period that we're in and that it also flatters the actor's figure. It's always my goal, no matter what body comes to me, that I find a look that makes them feel good, that gives them confidence and enables them to transform into the character. The transformation process is only partly fulfilled through the costume. Adding the makeup and then a lot of times adding the wig really is what brings the character to life. Most often we don't have a good sense until the first dress rehearsal as we're going through and we're realizing, oh, that's only 4 lines of dialogue or 17 seconds to completely change an outfit. My team and I will rehearse the quick change, we'll modify the costumes, we will talk it through before we do it with the actor, and I pride myself on not being the reason an actor does not get back on stage in time.
This year, a new addition to the stage crew was the flight crew for parts for the show, where some of the cast got to fly. Flying is an important task to truly focus on, considering how dangerous it can be when not approached right. Our actors, however, maintain a courageous outlook to make the show become more of a reality.
So I'm Mr. Goodwin. I was on the flight crew on Flight 1 for The Little Mermaid. So the way it works is there's like travel and then there's lift. There's 2 flights. There's the front one and then there's the back one. The front one, it's 2 pulley systems. The one pulley system, you literally just pull and it lifts the actor. The other one, it's more like a travel, think like a curtain. And obviously you can travel left and right based on how you're doing it. There's the harness. They clip into the harness on the left and right. And then obviously one person lifts the other person's left and right. So I was the left and right on the front one. And then the back one has the extra component of rotating. So there's a giant remote that hooks into the wall and it just works wirelessly. And you can just turn a knob and it rotates on the back. So some of the aerial scenes, she does the most rotating. Like part of your world, they're fluidly rotating her throughout the scene. So to ensure their safety, the big key is communication. So safety was a big part of our training when the ZFX guy was in. And basically saying, you know, when the actor's good, you tap them and say that they're good, whether they're being clipped in or they're being unhooked. We usually have 2 people to hook and unhook. One will hold up at the top while the other one's hooking and unhooking, just to make sure you don't lose the wire. But we do also test the actors every single show. So once they get their harnesses on, before the show, we hook them up, we lift them. Ariel practices her flip. Prince Eric practices leaning back for the drowning scene, and we make sure that they feel comfortable, that the harness doesn't need to be adjusted or anything like that.
With all of the magic of creating an animated production on stage, everyone is anxiously awaiting opening night. Opening night consists of excitement and praying that everything goes perfect for the audience. To ensure everything technical-wise is ready to go, we prepare with our Tech Week. Tech Week is a very important time to place everything where it should, as well as go over the entire musical. In the beginning of the rehearsal process, practices usually are less time-consuming than the ones that are closer to the show date. Students in this program must maintain a balance of good work ethic, as well as performing to their best ability. As we get to know the main characters of The Little Mermaid, there are many qualities it takes to be the lead in the musical. Let's dive in and look at what some of our characters have to say.
I think starring as Ursula impacted the way I feel about being a thespian, because it was, Ursula is the closest thing that I've had to a lead role in a musical, so it definitely redefined the workload, but it was a very enjoyable workload, and it prepared me definitely for next year, because I'm going to be a senior and I'm going to be on senior council, so I think it just prepared me a lot for next year and for life too.
My favorite part about playing Ariel was not only getting the opportunity to put on a successful production and getting to hang out with my friends and doing backflips, but also the reactions and how happy it made those little girls was my favorite. It was the most pure thing ever. I loved it. It made me so happy, and I just loved making other people happy, because I know as a little girl, Ariel was my favorite. I would have loved to watch The Little Mermaid and meet her.
I hope they took away the stereotype of men in theater or drama it shouldn't be there, and anyone can do it, and it's not weird to do it.
As the show comes to a close, it is important to recognize the dedication to our teachers as well as seniors. Every night of the last show, we thank our seniors and teachers for their time and influence on the program by giving gifts that correspond with the musical, as well as affirmations, so that they never forget this part of their life and its impact on others. We would like to thank all of our seniors and teachers for their mark on this production, as well as previous productions performed. The musical has to end at some point, and for many, it is a very hard goodbye. But this is only the beginning of what many will pursue in their careers as talented actors and singers. The time and dedication is celebrated one last time before we say goodbye. The Pinelands Thespians production of The Little Mermaid was performed to spread the magic and nostalgia that many look for when watching a musical. No matter what age, nothing is better than watching a performance with such a dedicated and energetic cast. The Pinelands Thespians would like to thank you for your support and hope to see you at the next performance.